One thing that they are talking about across the league today, or the last couple of days, is the team's infrastructure.
I wish we would have thought of this because we do player polls all the time.
Yeah, you know what, though?
This was really good.
I'm going to take a dump on this one, and I'm going to tell you why
go
once
ahead.
we get into it. Here's the deal. So players across the NFL were asked to rate overall, they were asked to rate food services, nutrition, weight room, strength coaches, training staff, locker room. Is it all on one graphic?
Nope, we got it in three.
By the way, I think we need to make a note here. The grades for the strength coach and the training staff should be ignored because pretty much every team said A on that. Nobody was going to rip the coaches.
Nobody's going to rip the coaches.
Yeah.
One reason I'm going to kill the poll.
Yeah.
That's one reason.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to inject this. One of the reasons I talked to Ethan Posick, 2 reasons he came to Cleveland. Bill Callahan and the Browns strength coach, strength and conditioning.
Right.
So it may be across the board that no one's going to rip him, but that's one guy who came here specifically.
The strength coach, fine. But the Bill Callahan's a non-factor on that list.
Yeah,
right.
Because they didn't talk about
I'm
the
just
coach.
saying,
Yeah.
those were Ethan's 2 big reasons
To
for
Bull's
choosing
point,
Cleveland. I think
nobody's going to rate their
elsewhere.
own weight strength coaching staff D.
No.
They got to work with these guys.
Yeah, right.
So
Jay, we put it in 3 graphics. You want to go through all the grades real quick?
Yeah. Do you have the overall first? You want to start?
We do. Yeah,
overall?
we'll start with the overall first. Do you want me to just run through it because I have the
sure.
graphics? Okay.
Yep.
So this was the overall report. Steve, you can take it full. The Browns received a C overall. That was 21st in the league. The main complaints of the Browns: the weight and the locker rooms were too small. Here's how they broke down on an individual scale. Steve, take the next one. Food and nutrition, D+. That tied for 18th in the league, meaning a lot of teams voted a D+. The weight room, also D+. That was tied 29th. As Bull mentioned, strength coach, A+, tied for first. The training room, B+, tied for fifth. Surprised that's not more. That means very few players and teams gave their own facilities training room higher than a B+. And last but not least, Steve, training staff got an A. Locker room, a D+. That one's tough to look at. It's tied for 22nd. And team travel arrangements was a C, tied for 21st.
Yeah, so overall, outside of the training staff and the outside of the 2 staff questions, the Browns did mediocre to bad and everything else.
Y'all may be able to educate me.
Yeah.
But how is this possible? Didn't they just spend like $8 billion on a basketball team? This is pennies on a dollar, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I think a couple things. Number one, interesting you bring that up. I was told that number is inaccurate on the Bucks.
The $875 million.
It's not accurate, but I don't know what the accurate number is. I couldn't find out what the real number
like
is.
how would they? What they reported? Well, there's one way it could be inaccurate is if he's not getting 25% of the team.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the valuation information was
I saw
wrong.
that from multiple sources.
Yeah.
Maybe
But I
that's the
think-
public evaluation and the real evaluation is different.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, valuation
yeah.
is set after a sale.
I mean, hand up, the Athletic's the one that broke the story and reported it.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with it.
All right, it doesn't
but
really
it was
matter,
our,
I guess.
but-
Whether it's 800
but I think
million or 500 million.
because
doesn't
we
matter.
put that number out,
Yeah.
everybody else picked it up.
Well, there was some confusion to the number because ESPN, bad job out of them, in their headline after you guys broke it, got it wrong. They said that he buys the Bucks for $4.5 billion. And that was never the case.
Because it said
now, they
majority
changed it.
stake at first.
Yeah, they changed it. They made it sound like he just was the only owner of the Bucks,
I'm
and
like,
then he
dang.
bought the whole team.
Right.
And I knew that wasn't the case.
Right.
And then after digging some more, I found some more articles that said he bought the minority owners' stakes. Where the 25% number came from, I can't tell you. I don't know if it was you guys that had that number. Somebody had it.
Yeah.
And the math that was done was because the original story said that he purchased these shares at a valuation of $4.5 billion. You did the math. 25% of that is
I think Shams made a mistake
million.
in his original article. I thought he said controlling interest in the initial article.
Shams did make a mistake in his initial report. You have to
One
clarify.
One way or another, they spent a lot of money.
anyway,
One way now, they got the bag. Your facilities suck.
I was right. I was told the number was wrong. Our Bucks guy was told that's not the correct. It'll come out eventually. We'll just have to wait for
Anyway,
it.
a lot of money either way.
In terms of this, their indoor practice facility sucks. Like, it is too small.
Blows.
And their locker room is like Ohio State's is nicer than the Browns.
It is nicer.
And that's why, like, if you know where the practice facility is there in Berea, Jimmy bought up all those houses there, and they've knocked them all down, and they've got this plan that they're going to do. but I don't know what it is. Like they are going to make some changes. They do want to make some upgrades. The locker room is too small.
Wasn't there one person holding out to not sell?
I think there is still one house over there
building around. Well, I mean, we've all been in the training in the weight room at the training facility.
It's inadequate.
I walked in there. It was like a high school gym,
especially in training camp.
Yeah,
guys are on top
terrible.
of each other. You're stepping over. It's not big enough.
I mean,
No.
I don't understand that. Like, they talking about trying to get a retractable dome roof. You want taxpayers to pay this bread, but your facilities in your own backyard is smaller than a phone booth. I'm confused. How do you have money like that, but be like, yeah, we're planning to do something, but we can't get no weights in here?
The food nutrition grade was low also, which is a lot of teams got that.
Another problem I had with the study, with the poll, 1,300 union members responded to it. The majority of the players, this isn't a league where player movement is prevalent. It's more prevalent today than it once was, but the majority of the players have played for one team. So what do they have to compare it to?
I think that's fair.
If you're going to grade, see, here's what.
But if you know that the locker room is small and you don't have enough space,
but
you
players
don't need
talk
any,
to each other.
Right,
Right?
well, yeah, but if I tell you my
and I think there is
experience,
I think there is quite a bit of movement.
Yeah, I don't know.
The league average is 3 years in the league. You can't move until after 3 years. Unless you've been cut by 3 or 4
Right,
teams.
there's a lot of back-end roster guys like that.
I think there's a lot of guys that churn and wind up in different places.
I mean, Tyvus played for half the teams in the NFC and the AFC, and T played for 10 teams.
You still have to. You need a base. You need a base for this stuff.
Sure.
You're grading against all the others. Like now, if there was a crew of 12 sports writers that spent a week in each team's facility, and then they wrote this massive piece about the comparing and contrasting of the Seahawks compared to the Lions compared to the Browns, I would put a lot of weight in that. But these are players ranking. You know what? You know how I do most of these things when I get them? I don't know. See,
but if
I get average,
but if everybody's in the same boat, then
I don't need to know what the Bengals are serving if the food here sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know what the Steelers locker room looks like if I'm like this every time I'm in the locker room.
But if you only eat at one restaurant, do you really know how it compares to the other 31?
Well, I like it pretty well if I keep going back to it. If it sucks, I'm not. If it sucks, I'm not going back.
But you know how that goes too. Eating at the same place every day, like ESPN, when visitors would come, the thing that they would rave most about was the cafeteria.
Yeah,
but
Jay,
the people
first
that work
of all,
there, they're like, it's okay.
When grading a training room or a workout facility, like you're not being asked to compare it to another team's training.
No, you're asking. You're asking.
What do you think of it?
You're giving it a grade,
right?
But what I'm saying is, if I ask, like, there are so many others. It might be the best in the league, but they might think it sucks.
Right, but if that were the case, then everybody would grade it a C or below.
I do think Bull's right.
Yeah.
Teams talk all the time. Players talk all.
I think
we as media talk like.
And
I've never
Bull
been.
might tell me his favorite restaurant. I might go there and say, this is trash. That happens all the time.
Well,
true, but that's only with food.
Not with that
in terms
example.
of facilities. But in terms of the food, a lot of the complaints I know with the Bengals, because the Bengals were ranked even lower than the Browns, there was complaint that when the players came in on their off days, the cafeteria wasn't even open. Like, that's something that's a problem, obviously.
If you want to entice guys to work that extra day.
Actually, to be truthful, the internet is undefeated.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm taking a tour of the Pittsburgh Steelers weight room right now. They got YouTube tours. They even have a poll.
Now, who knows? I get what you're saying. I think if every what you're saying is, well, we could find these facilities. I doubt the players went and looked at other teams' facilities.
What? Y'all got to understand something. Stop. Y'all got to understand something. We petty as hell.
Yeah.
If you get 2 pairs of shoes, and I like them, where the hell you get them from?
Yeah.
If you upgrade your facility and you getting filet mignon and steak, why am I not going to be on the? We are. These people are rich elitists.
That's right.
They are rich. They're like, I need to be on the end.
And everybody, and again, if everybody's coming from that same, I haven't been to another locker room, then it should be on equal footing.
And the one thing Mike wants to get in, the one thing Jimmy will do is spend money. They are going to upgrade the facilities, I think. They just got this property within the last couple of years.
Right, so they'll do
I think they're still trying to figure out what they want to do exactly, and I think it will get
And
upgraded.
the locker room will get better when you have a new stadium. What was the grade for the family, how they treat
they're
the
talking
families?
the Berea locker room, not Cleveland. Not Cleveland.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, they only use the.
But hey, one thing real quick. Jay asked how many players have never played on other teams or have.
Yeah.
So according to last year's roster, just went through 17 players have played on multiple teams, which means the majority of the team hasn't played.
Right.
But a lot of them come from big-time Power 5 programs.
No, that was my other point. If you're comparing
them
it
to LSU or Alabama, Oregon, to maybe any NFL facility.
Big mistake.
And
that was my other point. A lot of these guys are comparing to their college
every player is on equal footing.
The Browns indoor field, I think, is only 50 yards. Like, it's
I know
wonderful.
it is woefully inadequate.
What was their grade for how they treat families and stuff like that? Weight rooms. Where was that grade? I know that was on there.
I'll look it up. I'm not sure if put on here.
I don't remember that.
Because that was to me, that's one of the most important things in terms of, is a player going to go?
One thing that they added this year, I just found this out yesterday, is sort of a play area for kids on game day where they can take the kids, and they have like this in-depth facial recognition software.
Wow.
Because they're responsible for the children, and it's really safe and secure, and it's one of those areas. So they are trying to cater to families.
I think I've walked past that.
Possibly.
I think I've seen that before.
I think this is the most. We haven't even talked about.
Bull, I got it. Bull,
go ahead.
They ranked 22nd in support of players' families and 25th in post-game gathering area.
All right, never mind. That's pretty bad.
The Browns near the bottom.
But maybe it's great. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's hard to measure.
Post-game gathering area is bad. That is bad.
But it's bad. Like that's an area that you'd be concerned about, because that's an area players are talking. Hey, they're not treating our families.
By the way,
nice.
Part of the payoff to this was: is it affecting Cleveland's ability to sign free agents? I still say this. It has nothing to do with their ability to sign free agents. No. Two things, guys, that I've talked to. Two things guys consider. There's actually three. One is the city. That's a big one. Mm-hmm. The other one is, do I have a chance to win? Mm-hmm. I want to win right away.
Number one is the money.
Well, it can be, but oftentimes, if the deciding factor, if the money's equal everywhere, then they start saying, well, I know I'm going to get what I'm going to get. What's the city like? And guys that play for Cleveland, we talked about this when we started the show. We were trying to find former Cleveland athletes that still live here. Mm-hmm. And the number of guys that live here is very low. Bernie lives here. Josh Cribbs lives here. There's a number of guys. Doug Deacon never left. There's a number of guys that have stayed here. But for the most part, the guys that have played here leave, and they don't live here. And one of the things that I always hear about is your airport's trash. I can't get to anywhere direct.
The airport's a pain in the neck.
And so those are things that when you know you're going to make $15 million or $18 million, and the market is what it is, you've got 4 teams that are in that ballpark. The things that the guys start looking at is quality of life in the city that you're living in. Weather factors into all of that. Also, your ability to win. That's what controls it. Let's face it, for the last 10 years, the Browns have not been in a winning cycle.
To me, that's a big, am I going to be able to play? What's my role? And do I have a chance to win?
And I think the quarterback plays a role. That's all part of the
It does. Yeah, sure, it does.
One thing interesting, I just learned this recently. Jack Conklin is going to be a forever Clevelander.
Is he? Did he marry a girl from here?
I don't know.
Because usually that's what does it.
No, he didn't. He
really?
didn't. They're both close by. I think they're both Michigan originally, but they're building their forever home on the east side. He really wanted to stay. Yeah. And that's part of the reason with the extension that he got when we all thought he was getting ready to retire, and they signed him for 4 more years. Conklin's will be here forever.
All right. Well, the Browns got to do better. Do better. Let's go.
Yeah.
By the way,
win, and part of that free agent problem will take care of itself.
Massillon, Ohio, a high school team, has a better facility than that.
Browns facility is trash, but as Jason said, they did buy up a lot of land around Berea, and they're, hopefully will do a better job when they renovate again.
It's hard to rebuild while you're using it, especially in football.
Yeah.
Because you've got all those fields you're using. It's just
your downtime each year isn't nearly enough time to start scrapping buildings and building new buildings.
Right.
That takes a year and a half in some instances.